How's it going, YouTube? This is Skul, and welcome to my video game pickups for the month of April 2023. And if I seem a little short today, I'm sorry. This is my second time trying to record this. The first time the camera failed after just a few seconds, it didn't tell me. So, I'm going to try my best to to get through this with a smile on my face. But if it seems like I'm rushing through, that's why. Because it's my second time in a row doing this. Anyway, so April 2023 gave us a lot of stuff, and this is probably the biggest thing that I picked up, literally, because this is the Switch OLED that was released to coincide with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which releases in just a few weeks now. So yeah, very excited to add this Switch to my collection. This is actually my 9th Nintendo Switch, if you can believe it. You see the shelf behind me over there? That's 8 other Switches. This is number 9, so very happy to add this to my collection. It's not like I am trying to go after every single Switch ever made or anything. I just really like getting the ones that I want. So, yeah, very happy to have a Tears of the Kingdom OLED, and I'm really looking forward to that game coming out just a week and a half when this video goes out. Wow, I'm excited for that. But the biggest thing that I picked up this month, my favorite thing that I picked up this month, is Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster for Nintendo Switch, and as you can see there, this is the ESRB version. That's right, I managed to get my pre-order in when they went up randomly at 2 a.m. that one night late last year. So yeah, this is the North American version. So you can see it's white on the inside. It's not the Asian version. This is the one that everyone wants and so few people were able to get, and I'm super happy that I was able to get it straight from the Square Enix store for suggested retail price. Very happy with that. And that's not the only that's not the only Switch game that I got this month. I actually got this day one when it released, and this is Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. So the story with this is it actually was supposed to release last year until that thing happened in Europe that nobody likes. So Nintendo had to delay it, but I kept my pre-order this whole time. Finally released, and I finally have it in my hand, and I'm super excited to have this. I remember playing Advance Wars all the time on Game Boy Advance and really loving it. Very happy that it got a HD remaster on Switch. Looking forward to playing that quite a lot. That's my first day one pickup on Switch that I've gotten since it's been a while. I've pretty much only gotten Pokemon stuff day one. So yeah, I'm happy to have another new Switch game. This is not a Switch game per se, but it is Switch related. I was browsing Etsy one day and I saw this up for sale. This is a custom made cover, a fan made cover for Pokemon Legends Arceus. And as you can see, it is made in the style of the Generation 1 Pokemon boxes in Japanese. And I just thought, how appropriate is that? Because Legends Arceus is supposed to take place in the past. It's just so appropriate, it's so fitting. And yeah, and this is doubly nice because both my wife and I have copies of the game, and I can use this to differentiate my copy from hers. It's not like it matters because for Pokemon games, save files are tied to your console, not to your cartridge, but still, I don't need a reason to justify this. I just thought it looks nice, so I picked it up. And this is also not exactly a Switch game, but it is Switch related. This is a GameStop store display copy of Let's Go Eevee. So if you ever go to GameStop, you might see these sometimes. Oh, by the way, they had a typo there where it says Pikachu, not Eevee, because I'm sure somebody copy-pasted it from the Let's Go Pikachu game. So if you go to GameStop and you browse the store shelves, sometimes you'll see copies of games that you can bring this to the front desk and the store employee will give you a copy of the game from behind the desk. They don't put these out for display, the actual games out for display, they put these out for display instead. And this is completely empty. It's just a Switch case with a custom cover on it. And it's not like this is actually worth anything, but I thought, you know what, that's cool, I'll place a bid, and I won. So this actually isn't even the first GameStop store display game that I have. I also have one for the Breath of the Wild DLC. It's just a nice little piece of history that I'm very happy to have, and it's just a fun little thing. I also got this nice little pile of stuff. As you guys know by now, I stream for EastAsiaSoft on their Twitch channel, twitch.tv/EastAsiaSoft 3 days a week. And as part of my compensation, they send me physical copies of games whenever they release. So, we got Omen of Sorrow released on PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch. And I pride myself on having a complete EAS physical Nintendo Switch collection, and that would be the case even if I wasn't getting them for free. I would totally be buying every single game of theirs with my own money. I'm very thankful that I get them for free though, and they even sent me the PS5 version this month even though I didn't ask for it. So I'm very grateful to continue being able to stream for them and work for them. I'm very happy to add these games to my collection. I actually played them a little on stream. Well, it's just one game, but two versions, two console copies of it. It's a fighting game with all kinds of classic monsters like Frankenstein and Dracula and stuff like that. So yeah, super fun concept. I hate fighting games. I'm not very good at them, but I loved that game. So yeah, let's see. So I also continued whittling away at my PSM Magazine collection. So I got 3 issues this time. I got issue number 70. So as you can see, this one has the Hulk on the front. And I also got issue number 75. And this one is advertising the game XIII, which, as I remember, actually got a re-release on the Switch last year. So yeah, nice to see classic PlayStation 2 games getting ported to the Switch. There's a lot of them. And this is technically not PSM, but it's from the successor magazine, PlayStation, the official magazine. And as you can see, you can probably guess why I got this one. This is the magazine that is covering Crisis Core's original release on the PSP in 2006. So I am going after PSM because I just like classic PlayStation. PSM was never as popular as Nintendo Power or Electronic Gaming Monthly or any of the other magazines, which is a two-edged sword because on the one hand that means the magazines are usually really, really cheap on eBay, but the downside is they don't really show up on eBay that much. So whenever I find one for a good price, I try and pick it up. And PlayStation, the official magazine, is basically the successor to PSM. Whoever was in charge of PSM at the time was like, let's rebrand ourselves, let's try and make ourselves modern and relevant. And it didn't last very long. By the time the PlayStation, the official magazine, was over, basically it was a completely different magazine. There was not a single person on the team that was there when it was PSM just a year or two earlier. But I like it because it's a nice little piece of history and it's a nice cheap magazine for me to collect. So yeah, 3 new covers for me to add to my little growing collection. And I think with this, I'm actually up over 10% of the way towards a complete PSM collection, which I'm very excited for. Also picked up a few random games. So, first of all, I got this. This is a complete in-box copy of Pokemon Leaf Green version. And as you can see, if I had this exact same problem when I was trying to record the first time. It comes with all the manuals and inserts and stuff, and of course the game cartridge. There we go. I haven't actually explored this or anything, but it is a real cartridge. I just don't know if there's a save file left on there by the previous owner or whatever. But I placed a joke bid on eBay, and I won. Japanese Pokemon games, you'd be surprised how cheap they are. Like, the English ones everyone knows, like Leaf Green can probably go for $100 these days. This complete in box was like 20 or 30, something like that. It was a lot cheaper, right? So yeah, if you guys ever want to get copies of old Pokemon games and you don't care what language it is, just get the Japanese version because it's going to be a heck of a lot cheaper than the English ones. And the great thing about the Japanese games from Gen 3 and on is they'll talk to the English games just fine. So if you want to do shiny hunting or get specific version exclusive Pokemon and trade them over or transfer them up to the current generation, you can do it. Just so you know. I also picked up a few more Final Fantasy games to add to my growing collection. My eventual goal is to get every single Final Fantasy game ever released. It's going to take a long time to make that happen. I think there's like double or even triple the Final Fantasy games than there are Pokemon games, which took me like 4 or 5 years to complete that. So I'm doing this slow but sure. Anyway, my most recent game pickup is Final Fantasy Chronicles on the PlayStation 1. And this is exciting because this includes Final Fantasy IV and a non-Final Fantasy game, Chrono Trigger. So everyone knows how expensive Chrono Trigger is on the Super Nintendo. Just get this. Then you can play it in English on a PlayStation 1. And you do have all the downsides of the PS1. You have long load times. You have worrying about, the disc scratching and stuff like that. It's not nearly as easy to play as on the Super Nintendo. It's not as convenient. But it's still a perfectly legal way of doing it. It is an official release of the game, so if you want it cheap, there you go. And another Final Fantasy game for me to add to my collection. This cost me like $1 on eBay. This is Final Fantasy XIII on Xbox 360. And I had this game on PS3. I've actually played quite a bit of it on PS3. I didn't have the 360 version yet, and I was kind of surprised when I found out that this has not one, not two, but 3 discs on the 360. And that's just such a throwback to back when games required multiple discs. Even in the 7th generation, they required multiple discs in order to play. And I'm very, very happy to add Final Fantasy XIII to my collection. Just another Final Fantasy game. So that's, 3 FF games I've added to my collection this month? Pretty good month. And I think this is the last to show off. So this is going to ruffle some feathers, but I don't need to justify it. I actually, when I tried to record this the first time, I spent maybe 10 minutes talking about it to justify it. I'm not going to bother this time. I don't need to justify it. I made a video a month or two ago about how I had got graded video games. And I had mentioned that there were 3 other games that I would like to get graded someday. And those 3 were Pokemon Y version, Final Fantasy VII, and Pokemon Silver version, which I do not have, but it's my favorite video game of all time, so I will get it eventually. Y was my second favorite Pokemon game until Scarlet and Violet came out, so for the longest time I just wanted a copy that was sealed, and I would have been happy. I've had a sealed copy for a while, but I didn't know if the seal was real. This is a graded game, which means the seal is real, and I can sell my old sealed version, which now that I can look at this, I know it was real. I could sell that to get some of the money back to help pay for this. I don't need to justify it, just Pokemon Y is one of my favorite Pokemon games. It's still relatively easy to get, so I'm going to go ahead and get it. Final Fantasy VII is my favorite non-Nintendo game ever. It's one of my favorite video games of all time, and this is a WADA 8.5A, and it's the greatest hits version, green label. So it was cheap. So it was really cheap, and it was really easy to justify getting this. This was cheaper than this. So yeah, I just really, really wanted copies of these games as if they were still on a store shelf, having never been seen by human eyes, never having been touched by human hands. There's just something about that. It's like, it's still on the store shelf. It's still brand new, and it always will be. And that's why I like getting these graded games. I'm not getting these to resell them, just so it's clear. I am going to be putting these on my shelf as soon as this video is over. And I'm going to leave them there as long as I'm alive, as far as I know. So yeah, picked up 2 new graded games this month. Still have Pokemon Silver that I will get eventually. It's just really expensive. Man, I'm going to have to spend a lot of money on that. But it's worth it because, again, my favorite video game of all time. Not Pokemon game, video game. I will get one someday. And we got other stuff to look forward to, like next month we got Tears of the Kingdom. In June we've got Final Fantasy XVI. We got a lot of stuff to look forward to. So, I hope you all enjoyed what I picked up this month. Again, probably my favorite thing that I picked up is Final Fantasy Pixel Remastered, just because I managed to snag it when it was live. And of course, my Tears of the Kingdom OLED. Very happy to have that. One more Switch to add to my collection. Let me know what you guys picked up this month, and if you made it to the end of the video, comment the word pineapples in the comments below. I'm looking forward to seeing what you all got, and I am looking forward to showing you what I get in the future. As always, thanks everyone for watching, and stay tuned for more. Please tell me this recorded.